Hi, guys.
Oh, I like the backdrop, Tom.
I know it.
That's awesome. You guys don't want to see me, so that's why my video is not on.
Don't want to smell you either.
No,
All right.
no.
This is the script for remotely conducted open meetings. The public participation guidelines are members of the public wishing to participate in the meeting must use their full name for Zoom access. If full names are not used, people will not be allowed to participate in discussion. The town reserves the right to remove any member of the public from the meeting who does not use a full name or acts inappropriately. As a preliminary matter, this is, I am the chairman of the Harbor and Shellfish Advisory Board. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members of the board, when I call your name, please respond in affirmative. Peter Brace.
Aye.
David Bossy.
Here.
Tom Sidlowski.
Hi.
Dan Pronk.
Affirmative.
Ginger Andrews. Ginger said she'd be calling in. Mr. Franzuto will be out tonight. Do we have any staff here tonight?
Not yet. I'm just texting Tara to tell her I sent her another agenda.
All right. Any members of the public?
Not yet,
Okay.
but the email I sent out was the email that I send to everybody when I send the agenda, so should be in their queue.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, hey, it's electronics for us, I guess. Introduction to the remote meeting. Good evening. This open meeting of the Harbor and Shellfish Advisory Board is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting, the Harbor Shellfish Advisory Board is convening by video conference via Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. For Zoom meeting, please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and to take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Meeting materials, all supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. We're now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective, clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. The chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called further. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in a conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Items with public comment. After the members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment to those members of the public that have joined the meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak must state their names and be acknowledged by and speak through the chair. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Harbor and Shellfish Advisory Board, September 21st, 2021. Do we have a motion to approve tonight's agenda, please?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made by Mr. Sidlowski, seconded by Mr. Bossy to approve tonight's agenda. All in favor, Mr. Brace? Mr. Pronk, all in favor
Yes.
of tonight's agenda?
Yes,
Is Ginger on board?
Not yet. I'm calling her.
All right. Say aye to approve tonight's agenda, Mr. Brace.
I did say aye already.
Oh, okay, thank you. Approval of minutes. Draft minutes for August 3rd. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes? And are there any corrections or adjustments to be made? If so, not seeing any or hearing any. I'll wait on Mr. Brace's phone call.
Here comes Ginger.
Okay.
Hey, Ginger.
Hello, Peter.
Hey, Ginger.
Hi,
Sorry, I'm a little late.
Peter. Hi, Ginger. Welcome to the meeting.
Thank you.
Just confirm your member access. Ginger Andrews. Here.
Yes, that's me. Present.
Okay. And we are up to draft minutes for August 3rd. If there are no corrections or additions to be made, I will accept a motion for approval.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Second.
All right, move to approve by Mr. Bossy, seconded by Mr. Brace. All in favor, Ms. Andrews,
Aye.
Mr. Sadowski,
Aye.
Mr. Pronk.
Yes,
Chair votes aye. September 7th, meeting minutes. Anything to add, subtract, correct, or change? If not, I'll accept a motion to approve the minutes for September 7th, 2021.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. This is Ginger.
Second.
Motion's been made by Ginger Andrews, seconded by Tom Sidlowski to approve the minutes of September 7th. All in favor, Mr. Brace, Mr. Bossy,
Aye.
Mr. Pronk.
aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Mr. Brace, might be an issue with your microphone. I'm not sure. Your eye came in very dim. Turn up the volume or something. Was there something you were going to add, Mr.
Can you hear me
Brace?
now, Andy?
Yes, good.
Good.
Yes. Just wondering if there was something you were going to mention in the chairman's report, Mr. Brace. If not, we'll move
Can you
forward.
refresh my memory? Because I know I was going to do
I
that.
know, I was thinking of it earlier and now I need my memory refreshed.
I guess it was about Mr. Lambrecht. Is that correct?
Okay,
So I did attend the September 8th select board meeting where they reviewed Mr. Lambrecht's our recommendation for revocation of his license of his oyster lease, and of course Jeff Carlson's recommendation. And let's see, I'm refreshing my memory right now because I'm doing a million other things. So Jeff Carlson explained, how they had the whole situation, how we worked with them over 7-8 months, why they were doing it. Then Mr. Lambrecht got to talk and got to say that he'd been working very hard trying to get his cages out, explain the hardships that he's had to deal with. And I sat there and listened and they they all sort of talked back and forth. It seemed like Melissa Murphy. So it was Melissa Murphy, Jason Bridges, Christy Ferrantella, and who am I forgetting? Don Hill Holgate wasn't there.
Matt Fee?
And Matt Fee. So it seemed like Matt Fee asked the most questions, and as did Melissa Murphy, and wanting to know the whole procedure, wanting to know if there was anything behind anyone behind him waiting to start up. If he didn't get it all done, Jeff kind of like, we really want to get this over with. We want to get him out of the water, and so the select board asked all their questions, and then they opened it up to the public. And someone named Sarah Ellis spoke up and said, to effect, basically, give him another chance, although she didn't say it in those words. And then I'd been frustrated listening to the whole thing because I heard Ted say how much work he was putting in on it. And, so I said, okay, well, how much gear do you have out of the water? And he said he had about 30% out of the water. And then I said, well, I reiterated what Jeff Carlson had said about how we worked with him, and I said, I expressed to him, to the board, that it was a hard decision for us, that we agonized over it, that he was one of our constituents. He's a fisherman. We represent him, and so we didn't take revoking his license lightly, and had thought about it. We said that we had one dissenter on the board, and I said if there was any way we could have made it work for him, we wish there was, but we hadn't been able to come up with one. He hadn't done really anything all winter long, except work on his boat. He hadn't pulled anything out, and I said we had one of our board members offer to help him pull his gear out, and he did not avail himself of that offer. And so then Melissa Murphy, it just came around to Melissa Murphy basically making a motion to give him more time.
Right, 90 days. And then that's it. For her motion.
Right.
90 days, all of his gear removed. Or else it's revoked.
And and I got the sense that meant that if there's just one cage on the bottom that he hasn't pulled up, then that's that. It gets, he gets it revoked. And the way the vote went, Melissa made the motion. I think Matt seconded. Let's see. Christie voted no. And then Jason Bridges, chairman, he hesitated. It seemed like he wasn't sure, and and then he just voted yes. If it was a split vote, it would have been a denial. It would have been revoked. So the hearing is continued until December 8th. They'll review it again if he doesn't have his stuff out. So, and I felt after the meeting, or after I left the meeting, that I maybe precipitated all of that by asking the question of how much he had out and telling the board, that we did really work with him as much as we could, and we did, it was hard for us, and that he was a constituent, and but that, we didn't see any other way out. And I think maybe Melissa may have picked up on that, as well as Matt. And afterwards I felt kind of, like for the board, I went back on what we had wanted to do, and I could see Jeff kind of squirming. So, but then I thought afterwards, you know what, if he comes really close to getting all the gear out, and they deny and they revoke his license, at least he got all the gear out before the springtime, and whoever's going to come up next won't have to deal with that in the springtime.
Now, let me ask a question. Who decides if you get all the gear off the bottom? We're gonna send a
Well,
diver down?
Yep,
You're gonna send a drone
there will
down?
be- Natural
Yep.
Resources will be doing an inspection of it,
Yeah, right on.
and of what they see on shore, and checking in with Ted prior to the meeting. So it'll be checked out. Jeff Carlson said it'd be checked out.
Mr. Bossy?
I just like this to say that what I found offensive was the fact that he claimed he couldn't get the gear out because of the stop work order that Jeff had issued. And yet he's also said that he's put seed down. He's put new stuff down, new equipment. He said he's got seed just went in. And that nobody picked up on that. And it didn't matter. They were just going to give it to him anyway. They were going to let it go of it. I know it was close. It was very close, as Peter said, but he's gone ahead and put new equipment down there. So if he's working that equipment, that's fine. He's not pulling his old equipment if he's working the new equipment. So
Yeah.
I just, we have nothing to talk about really for 90 days. Really, they gave it to him. It's done. They did say if anything is left, it's revoked. That's part of the resolution. So we'll see.
And the thing is that while this is going on, the guy who is next in line to apply, he can, but he probably won't. He can't, it takes all winter, I guess, to, fill out the permits, get all the permits. It takes a while to get the permits in. If Ted had pulled it all out before this point, then that space would be open and all he had to do was apply and hopefully he'd be ready to go in the springtime. So if Ted doesn't get it all out, and it gets revoked, the guy isn't going to, he's not going to apply for all the permits and go through the process only to find that he pulled everything out and Ted gets to stay. So.
All right, well, it would certainly be good to, at least through the 90 days, occasionally hear from whoever is monitoring the progress here. And Peter, I'd like to thank you for raising your voice on behalf of the board there, and really bringing up a measuring point for the select board to go by if it wasn't for you asking and getting an answer of how much of the gear has been removed. Then even that bit of information would not be on record. So it gives a time and a measuring point.
But
Mr. Brace.
It wasn't my intention to throw our decision under the bus. It was just to make sure that they understood that we went,
Peter, you're beating yourself. I'm sorry, you're beating yourself up for this, and you should
Yeah.
not. I listened to you in the entirety online at real time, and you're beating yourself up over nothing. Honestly.
Okay, so
you did a good job. Yes.
Thank you,
Yes.
Dave. I just want to say that Jeff Carlson made a good point, was that, he may be plugging along, pulling gear out now, but he'll be coming into rough weather in October and November. And how much gear is he going to get out if we get blows in between? So he might not have a very good chance of getting it out of there. That's all. So, anyway.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Sidlowski.
I think we did what we could. We did it well. We handed it to the select board. They made a decision, and I think we'll just see what happens.
Yep.
I feel we did the best we could, and they listened to us, and it's up to them to make the decision, and they did.
Well, one other thing that would be handy to know is simply, how much gear is there and how much time is needed to remove it. If his boat's in the water, he's got 90 days, how long does it take? I can't imagine that it's a 90-day job. So, and as Mr. Bossy says, so he's got some seed in, he must have some new gear in. I didn't think he could move forward with that. So that's, that's, we'll see what Mr. Carlson has to say the next time he's able to attend. And I think these are questions that along the way would be nice to be answered. At least it would be nice to know from, say, somebody who's experienced with hauling gear like that, how long does it take? So, all right, if there's nothing else.
Well, Dan, hold on a minute. Sorry,
All right.
Mr. Chairman. We happen to have Mr. Pronk here.
Yes.
Do you have anything to say about that, Dan?
If removing that gear is probably difficult with an experienced person at, grappling gear off the bottom. I'd like to see his operation and see what actually is being, how he's doing it, how much he's recovering. I'd like to see the pile of stuff he's recovered and decide if that's 30% or not. It's not an easy job for somebody that doesn't do it. I mean, on occasion, I lose both ends on my lobster trawls that are 2,500 feet long, and I have to grapple for them. And with the computer technology I have on the boat, I have a real good idea where they are. But it's a difficult process in deeper water. The shallower it is, it's easier to do. But I don't know. I'd like to go up there and have a look at the operation and see what kind of operation it is. It's not easy. I'll give you that.
All right. I would imagine it must be the Shellfish warden who's monitoring it. I'm gonna reach out to JC over the next between meetings here and see if that's in his responsibility.
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear what they say.
Yeah. All right. If there's nothing else, do we have a representation from the Marine Department for the Marine Department report? Next item on the agenda.
We do not.
All right, just to inform you, I did ask Sheila if she could make it to tonight's meeting, simply to give us a review of the summer activity and to be able to answer any questions on the proposed liveaboard and Airbnb and slip lottery amendments coming up, and also to explain DITAB distribution. So no response. Okay. Comments from the board? I don't know. Maybe she's on vacation. I don't know. But anyhow, natural resources, do we have representation?
I texted Tara when I was trying to get her the correct agenda, and she texted back that she'd just gotten off the water from diving. They've begun their dive surveys of the harbor, so she said she won't be making the meeting.
Okay. All right. Comment from the board? Any comment from the public? Do we have any public?
No public.
Okay. Old business, proposed amendments to the boat Airbnb and liveaboard regulations, slip lottery. So there's a stakeholders meeting on
It's
Friday,
at noon.
September 24th at noon.
I believe I sent you guys the link for that.
All right.
But if you want, I will send it again to make sure.
All
I
right.
didn't see a link for that.
Yeah, I didn't see a link either. I just saw the agenda, basically the cutout from the town regs
All right.
with proposed changes and we're missing the entire liveaboard section.
There's no liveaboard section or Airbnb section. The only change from our last meeting appears to be an addition to the section that says that a boat has to be registered in Massachusetts. It went back to some language it had in the past that said registered in Massachusetts or federally registered with Nantucket as the port.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Brace.
in the packet for the July 14th minute for the July 14th select board meeting, there was mention there, they did have what we recommended for changes to the liveaboards in the packet. I found that in the July 14th packet.
Yeah, but it got pulled out of the later packets.
In what, the August 18th?
Yeah, so we talked about this last time. It was
Right,
in
okay.
July, it was pulled in August, and
Okay.
it's not in the current draft. You looked, Dave, bossy, at that, did you?
I did, and I'm wondering if we shouldn't send an email to, is it Erica? Stating that this was in the draft of the August, whatever the date was, that it was in the draft at that meeting on the 14th, and it's now removed from what we're seeing in the stakeholders meeting. Was this section intentionally completely removed? Because it doesn't make any sense. I mean, there's no liveaboard really referenced in the entire document anymore.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we should just ask if this is just an oversight, because it's pretty big.
It was removed in August.
Right, it was removed
yeah.
from the August agenda, but once it got dropped, that's what we're looking at basically, is a copy of the August agenda with minute changes. But I'm just wondering if we shouldn't just drop an email from Chab saying this whole section's missing, and is it meant not to be part of the discussion? Has it actually, intentionally been dropped? Again, we did a lot of work on it.
Yeah, and I've saved the text after our last meeting. This was our concern. Mr. Franzuto is going to get in touch with Erica Mooney. I reached out to Sheila Lucy, and she responded pretty quickly by saying, as far as she knows, it has not been removed.
Well, then Erica has to be told, because if these people are not presented that in their packet for the Friday meeting, it's there can be a lot of shaking heads.
Then it can't be voted on.
Right. I mean, I would go ahead and
Yeah.
I'll write an email to Erica if that's the case from Shab, if we agree to it, or Peter as our
Right.
secretary would be fine. I don't know how busy you are. I know you're busy, Peter, and that's why I offered to do it. But I just think we should send a copy of the packet, the relevant pages from the packet, and say, look, this was in this meeting, and then it got dropped for the August meeting, and we're really concerned that it's completely disappeared. Was this an oversight?
Dave, can you make the Friday meeting? I have company coming in, and Friday would be really, in midday would be really tough.
I should be able to. Is that a Zoom? Is it a Zoom?
Yeah, pretty sure it's a Zoom. I'm gonna email Erica for that link if I can't find it. If someone can shoot me the relevant pages from the August 18th meeting, then I can ask her that question at the same time.
From the August 18th meeting?
Well, the August 18th meeting had that part left out, right?
Correct.
So if you can tell me the page numbers, the range of page numbers, or the page number it was supposed to be on, then I can reference that when I email her.
Okay, I will work on that while you guys.
This is amazing that we have to chase our tails over this, and we're not informed of any changes. I'm relying on Mr. Sadowski and Mr. Bossy's word. You guys are well rehearsed at looking things up and scanning through. I have not searched for this and what's in the proposal at all, so I'm totally relying on you guys. And as I said, I spoke with Sheila about it. She said, as far as she knows, it hasn't been removed. So I'm kind of scratching my head and shaking my head that we have to kind of spin our wheels over this.
Yeah, just look at what was sent to us by Erica Mooney. It's not in there. I mean, it's clearly not. It's not there.
I'm looking for the July. I've got just getting the July 4th posting, and I can cut out the pages the July 4th packet, I guess,
14th.
July 14th agenda packet. Here it is. Okay.
Almost at the end.
Oh, here they are. Sure. Right. I'm gonna send you this section, Peter.
Okay.
Just a copy of it. It's in the PDF. It's at page 163 of their packet from July 14th. But I'm going to send you the text that's since been removed.
You have it on 163?
In the PDF, it's 163. This is the July 14th packet. This is where it existed.
I have a suggestion. We better call Mulder and Scully from the X-Files and get them on it.
It's disappeared. It's absolutely disappeared. Yeah.
Bizarro.
Let me see if I can get a section for you. Summary of changes. If you search for subsection, then you got all the fancy stuff. And just search for liverboards with an S, and you'll find it.
Okay.
But I'm going to send Peter. I'm going to send you that right now. But just the text that's missing.
Yeah, 163 has the summary of it, and then it's later in the document.
Oh, okay.
At page 168. At 168.
Let me see if that's the actual section. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yes, there it is. Okay.
Yeah. So on page 168, which is, wow, it's hard to figure what these sections are. It's on 168. It's right after the dinghy permit section.
Right, section D, right.
It was section D where dinghy permits is section C, and then they dropped it in later versions.
Okay.
Okay.
I've got that. Thanks, Tom. Yeah, that's what we really need to see. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, today's the 21st, and this stakeholders meeting is on the 24th. This is really interesting. Any other discussion, thoughts, feelings about this issue the board would like to discuss? Well, next in old business, excessive sand and scallops dredging plan. It's still there in the harbor. There's plenty of sand on the bottom, and I feel it's kind of just, swept under the rug, so to speak, pun intended, because there's literally some islands and shoals that are showing up in the bends of the harbor, which has never been a historic thing. And hopefully, Mr. Carlson is working on a dredging plan. I don't think it has to do with enhancing shellfish beds, but I think it's something we really need to aggressively approach here at some point, at least for a pilot project, as mentioned before. So any information anybody's able to discover out there about dredging for the enhancement of shellfish beds, I'd love to hear it. If there's
Just-
no discussion in this topic, we'll move forward to health of the
Well,
harbors.
hold on a second, Andy.
Dan,
Have-
Mr. Pronk?
Do I recall you saying that Chatham has a dredging program of some sort?
Well, the entire Cape does. Mr. Franzuto is very, up to speed on how it works over there.
The
Barnstable Town-
the reason I ask is I got a good friend of mine that fishes out of Chatham, and I can get the real story about if it works or not,
Yeah.
from fisherman's point of view, and see what
Yeah.
he says. I'll ask him next time I talk with him
Well,
what he thinks of it.
I remember reading an article in the Cape Cod Times several years ago about the dredging program over there, and the two dredges that the Barnstable County Dredge Program owns. They do a lot of it's all for navigation, but
Right.
I swear I read an article about, and now I can't find it because I thought I'd saved it somewhere in my folder of Shab stuff. But and then there's also the Vineyard, who owns their own dredge, and feels, reports from the Vineyard are they've in leaps and bounds made progress in water quality improvement at the Great Eggertown Pond. It's a hydraulic dredge, and so they're moving the sand up onto land, and more information would certainly be helpful to help us proceed with any type of progress on this at all.
Well, I got a long boat ride later tonight, so I'll text my buddy and see what he says.
You out on the water right now?
No, but I'm hoping to go tonight.
All right.
I'll see what he says.
Anybody else? Ginger, I see your phone icon pop up.
Oh, I don't know. I think somebody else is trying to call me at the same time.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, I really don't have anything to add about that. So.
All right. Well, thank you, Ginger. Moving forward to health of the harbors, excessive lawn fertilizer use, update and discussion.
Yeah, I have something to contribute.
Yes, well, this is actually where I think the chairman's report item, you sent, Mr. Brace sent out the letter to Chris Winthrop, was it?
Yeah, the director, Henry Weiner, he said, "We have been assured by Shampoo this will not happen again. Please reach out to Greg or Nathan located in our 44 Main Street office. Should there be an unexpected reoccurrence, you have my cell phone if you have questions. Regards, Henry." So he took care of it.
All right, and just to recap on this, Mr. Pronk, this is initiated by you, being our early rising fisherman, and what you witnessed at the parking lot. The letter was sent, and Mr. Brace got some personal response here. So
that's fantastic. I'll be keeping my eye out.
Yeah.
Because it's getting to be that time of season when they start breaking things down there, and that's usually we'll keep an eye on things.
Well, here again, this is another item that Mr. Brace and I decide to keep on the agenda because I don't. To me, lawn fertilizer use and its application is a huge moving target.
It's a poison.
and I wish we could simply say just anything that's a detriment to our harbor can't come over here from Hyannis, so
I couldn't agree more, Andy.
Another thing, I just like all board members to keep it on their radar, keep it in your thoughts, in your mind. Anything more that we can do to be proactive or really reactive to the fertilizer use that already takes place. And you know, I realize there's a program there, and there's an inspector or two between natural resources and the health department. But really it's about the product, and you know, what products should be used and what products simply shouldn't be used here. So you know, if there's more we can work on this over the winter and make some progress, that would be a wonderful thing. Discussion from the board. Not seeing or hearing any. FDA shellfish taking prohibition in the mooring fields. This had something to do with Leah Hill report. We have no representation tonight, so if anybody wants to add anything that's with us here right now, now's the time. If not, we'll simply continue it. Water quality testing update, boat holding tank, tab distribution. Any progress in this? We really need some representation here. Not seeing any, having any here. Anything from the board? All right, new business. Coastal Resilience Advisory Board update, Mr. Brace.
Yeah, so the biggest news out of the Resilience Advisory Board out of CRAC is that the release of the CRP. I think it's out in draft form now, but the final is due fairly soon. So we were told to review the draft and then at the next meeting, which will be the 28th of September, bring our comments for that. And then Ginger requested a list of all the resources, studies, reports, research, that websites, books, everything that Arcadis, the consultant, had access to to do its plan. And I made that request of Vince Murphy, who is the Coastal Resilience Coordinator for the Natural Resources Department. He first pointed me to the CRAC library, which is on the page for this committee, and you can certainly go there and look at a lot of the reports that they have. But then there's a whole ton more that he says will take a while for him to pull together the list because it is so huge. So he's hoping to get that to me later. When I get it, then I will relay it to the board.
Okay, so
Thank
is
you,
that
Peter.
the
Sorry,
information?
Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Just a sec.
But you should go. I will go back on the page when the meeting's over, get the link to the page and send it to everybody so they can look at the library. But he just said they have so much on their reading list.
Yes.
That it's not a sheet that he can just send me.
And when is a meeting for us to be able to voice our opinions?
Well, I don't know if for the board to voice its opinion, it's the 28th
of September.
Right.
Like next week.
Yes, just like next week.
A week from today. All right.
So I'm not sure if they'll be taking public comment at that meeting. I know it'll be a presentation by Arcadis, and they don't always take public comment. So I just have to confirm.
Will there be a link for this meeting also?
Of course, it's a public meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Peter. Ginger, did you have something you wanted to add?
Oh, I just wanted to thank Peter. I wasn't sure that I'd made quite such a comprehensive request, but I'm glad that it came out that way. You know, I'm not sure that everything has been published, but I will be happy to take a look at the you know, what they have. I've been having some eyesight problems. They won't really get totally resolved until I get new glasses, but it makes reading a little difficult right at the moment, but thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ginger. Anybody else? Something to add on the Coastal Resiliency Advisory Board update from Mr. Brace? Not seeing or hearing any. I'm sorry. Is that you, Dan?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Public questions or comment? Not having any public with us. Recap or items for next meeting? Anything board members would like to cover for our next meeting? Next meeting is October 5th, and after that, October 19th. If there's nothing else for tonight's meeting, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, Mr. Chairman, this is Ginger.
Thank you. The motion's been made to adjourn the meeting by Peter Brace, seconded by Ginger Andrews. All in favor, Mr. Bossy,
Aye.
Mr. Sidlowski,
Aye.
Mr. Pronk.
Yes.
The chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much.
See you guys.
Take
Over and
care.
out.
Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Ginger.